So Mike, for many years, was on the streets and not caring for his body. Now he is an amazing runner, and when you see him, you say, "What'd you do today?" "I knocked out 10." It truly is a joy. I'm sorry, by the way, that this next 10 minutes will not be in silence. I apologize ahead of time. But it truly is a joy to celebrate individuals who have helped create and sustain this community of belonging. Individuals who live like they are part of the whole human family, not just those in their smaller circle of friends and family. So in honor of our honorees, I would like to offer just a few reminders for all of us who long to live like we belong to each other. First reminder of how we can live like we belong to each other. We can examine where we find our security. If we base our security on how much money we make, or how smart we think we are, or what we think others think about us, we will never know security. Money, intelligence, and reputation can shield us from some calamities, but not all. And they can certainly cannot deliver true security. True security comes from knowing we are deeply grounded in unconditional love, and nothing, including death, can separate us from that unconditional love. Being deeply grounded in unconditional love also means being deeply grounded in the truth that separation from others in our human family is an illusion. Ignat Eshwan was a biographer of Gandhi. He tells this story about a time when Gandhi was living in South Africa during a deadly plague. Those who were infected were forced to stay outside of the villages. And Gandhi went to those people. They were from a different race than his, different religion than his, different nationality than his. But he went to those people, and because he wanted to serve them. And as he was approaching the area that was quarantined, one of the nurses, like our honorees today, some of our honorees today, one of the nurses waved him away and said, "Go away, they are contagious." And Gandhi said, "No, they are my family." The second reminder of how we can live like we belong to each other is we can reflect on what we need in the way of material possessions, vacations, recreation, education for our children, all of it. And then put a cap on the needs. Put a cap on the expenditures. If we do not put some kind of cap on our expenditures, we become trapped in this ever-escalating cycle of desire for more. we become trapped by a desire for more and more of what can never satisfy our deepest longings. If we do put a cap, we can allow resources of time, energy, expertise, money to flow through us to help create a more just and equitable world. All the people we honor today have allowed resources of time, energy, expertise, or money to flow through them for the sake of the whole. Gustavo Gutierrez, the father of liberation theology, calls us to what he says is a preferential option for the poor, or to what Richard Rohr calls a bias for the bottom. At this year's Christmas Eve service here at Recovery Cafe, I gave a reflection. It wasn't silent, sorry, Mike, but I gave a reflection in which I said, Jesus lived his life with a bias for and commitment to those who were left out. And that, I said, and even those of us who may consider ourselves to be left out can always find someone who is even more left out than we are. Immediately after I gave that reflection, one of our beloved members, Joan, played a carol, Christmas carol, on her flute. This was a really big deal for Joan. She had suffered a lot of trauma, and for her to play at this Christmas Eve service was a huge big deal for her. But right as she began to play, in the front door stormed a man who was homeless and mentally anguished. And he began to create a disturbance. And I got worried. Oh no, he's going to throw her off, and this is going to be a huge setback for her recovery from trauma. But thanks to Sky, who guided this gentleman and helped him plop down in a seat on the front row, he began to calm down, and I noticed something remarkable. Joan continued to play her flute, but this time she focused entirely on him. Later, she said to me, in that moment, he was the person who was even more left out than I. So I focused my attention on him, and I played my flute just for him. I think that's what Gustavo Gutierrez was calling us to do. To focus our time, energy, money, and expertise, especially on those who are left out. Which brings me to my final suggestion, and I say this all the time, so feel free to just mouth the words along with me. We can do what Stu and Lee Roth, the Public Health Reserve Corps, Michael King, Mike McDonald, Keith, and others have done. We can choose to put our weight down with one or two expressions of healing and hope, and invest our time, energy, love, expertise, and money in making that community thrive. Because the people we celebrate today have put their weight down with the Recovery Cafe faithfully, year in and year out, we have been able to develop a model that is now being replicated in 7 other cities. And in April, we will begin working with 5 new groups. 2, and I know it wasn't 5 yesterday, but we got an email early this morning. David's thinking, 5? I thought it was 3. No, we now have, this is news to you. We now have 2 groups in Washington, D.C., 1 in North Carolina, they made it. 1 in Oregon, Medford, Oregon, 1 in Ording, Washington, and this is the 6th group committed, will join our fall cohort from Lexington, Kentucky. Wow. Awesome. So, and we wouldn't have done it without David Yule, I have to say. So, faithful friends, because of your faithfulness, there will be at least 15 other recovery cafes bringing healing and hope by 2022. But I think at this pace, it's going to be a lot sooner than 2022. When we finally, when we really put our weight down with one group of suffering people who have been left out, we become a part of all those all over the world who are left out. We join our lives with them. But also, when we put our weight down with one expression of healing and hope, we become a part of a movement, a worldwide movement of healing and hope. That's pretty exciting. All of you in this room have put your weight down with Recovery Cafe in some way. And so you are our faithful friends. Please know that our gratitude for you is truly too deep for words. Thank you.